This episode of the Coarse Grind Podcast has been brought to you by Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, family-owned and operated screen printing and embroidery business located in a historic storefront on Old Berwick Road in the heart of Espy. They've been doing screen printing for over 20 years. They have high-quality product at a low price. Be sure to check them out. Central Sports and Graphics Incorporated, 570-784-1212. Now, on to the show.
Hi, this is Chef Adrienne Cheatham of Sunday Best Pop-Up Series in New York, and you are listening to the Shawn Rosler on the Coarse Grind Podcast.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is episode number 119 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. With you as always this evening, host creator Shawn Rosler. How the hell is everyone doing this evening? You know, I can hear everyone now. Oh, it must be a new season of Top Chef coming. Rosler's back to his old ways of interviewing Top Chef contestants. All right, fine. Guilty and really zero shits given. And here's why. When you have as developed a legacy as something like Top Chef does, you never have to question the caliber of guest. Season after season, win after win, the contestants are, bar none, the best in the game. And what makes this even more enjoyable is when I get to go back, some might even say way back, season 4 back, and talk with one of the true OGs of the game. Tonight's guest credentials span more institutions than I can count. I'm not smart with math, and honestly more names than I can even pronounce. Among them from the time he was on Top Chef to today include, but are not limited to, Waterfront Dixie, Bubba's Diner, David Copperfield's Island, Spin Bamboo Asia, and many others. By his own hand, he came out with Lafayette, Executive Order, and Sunset Cantina, and as if that's not enough, he's currently working on 2 openings, Mas Fuego and Buena Vida Cantina. Thank God I took Spanish in high school. And he's also the chef and director of culinary operations for the Jones Restaurant. It should be mentioned that the vast majority of the preceding names are all based in San Francisco. If he wasn't busy enough, he's got something he's working on called Botanica, and now he's found the time to be on a culinary talk show with someone hoping to talk with him about his story, his career, and what cannabis and cooking can do together. What a pain in the ass that Rosler guy is, right? Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone in between, my guest this evening, the San Franciscan pirate chef and Canna chef himself from season 4 of Top Chef, Chef Erik Hopfinger. Chef, how we doing this evening, buddy?
I'm doing fantastic. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being here, man. I know you've been just all over the place, and I know you're a busy man, so I want to capitalize on your time as best as we can here today and learn so much about this cannabis in cooking, which I am just riveted by. But we got to tell your backstory first. We want to really give that painting, that full painting that, you know, they try to bring out in Top Chef sometimes, but it never comes out as fully as it does here on the show. Hey, maybe I'm saying we do something better than Top Chef. I don't know. Anyway, without further ado, people with terrible short-term memories like mine, and for folks new to the program, starters, mains, and afters. Starters, we're going to talk about where the chef guest came from, what brought them to be a culinarian by trade and by career. Mains, we're going to talk about what they're doing, what they're working on present day. And finally, afters, we'll take a look at some a little bit more irreverent questions, a little bit more off the cuff, but no one's been injured in 118 episodes, so I don't expect that to happen now, especially since this guy looks like he could lift me over his friggin' head. So without further ado, Chef Erik Hopfinger, tell me about where and what you grew up eating.
Well, you know, I grew up in New York, in Westchester County, and my mom was a catering chef. My grandfather was a cook in World War II. And then came back from World War II and opened a little, like, kind of a divey diner called the Nest in Ojai.
Nice.
It was like a burger joint, Shake Shack kind of a thing, but in the 50s. And so my mom was a short order cook there, so she started out, you know, cooking at an early age. And then she was a catering chef when I was in high school, so I was, you know, kind of grew up cooking for my brother and sister. But as far as what I grew up eating, just, farm to table stuff.
Nice.
It wasn't even a thing back then, but, my mom was buying stuff direct and cooking it, There was no prepackaged meals or anything like that. Everything was from scratch.
Yeah, and that's such an important thing you say, because I think now it's so embroiled in just society, even for lay people like us on this side of the mic, that, farm to table, like we have to put a tag on it. We have to make it something special when, to you, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, should it even be a thing or should it be expected?
Oh, San Francisco, I was just talking to somebody about this, if you're not, I stopped putting it on menus because it's kind of inherently, like, that's what we're doing now. If you're not doing it, then your doors are closed pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
It's like to name all the farms and stuff like that, and, menu placement is a hot commodity. There's a lot of things, especially in San Francisco. We have a lot of axes and things, with Healthy San Francisco and things to put on the menu. So there's a lot of statements that have to be on there, as well as, getting our space of what we're trying to put across on there.
Sure. Yeah, and here again, this is why I love speaking to people like you from, big ass markets like San Fran, and here we are in this little podunk town of Bloomsburg, Pennsylvania, and yet we have, I can tell you 3 institutions, and listen, we don't have a bustling restaurant industry in the area, believe me, but I can tell you 3 places that you can look at the menu and find information of 5+ farms. And the one is literally like field to table. They walk out their back door and it's in this old French farmhouse and everything is from right there, except for the meat, but they do everything else. So I love what you're saying in that it's time for people to get with the times. And like, if you're not doing this by default, then get the fuck out, basically. Right?
Like, you can read when somebody knows what they're doing on the menu and not, then they've got, fucking melon on their menu in the middle of winter. And, like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, they must have a hothouse in the backyard.
Yeah, they're super seasonal, right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, makes total sense.
But you can really read through, what a chef's doing in the menu in what's going on, and that they're paying attention to what's going on.
Yeah, and I don't know. I'll speak for myself as a layperson. Again, love to hear people smarter than me, i.e., you, and thoughts on it. But like, I'm comforted. I don't feel limited when I go into a restaurant or I sit down at a table and I see a menu that is literally reined in by the season. I think seasonality is almost a comfort.
Oh, that's like, if I know I'm going to have a good menu if I have a good dining experience, if I have fewer choices.
Yes.
That means they're laser focused on what they're doing, and if you only have a few things to do it fucking well, and knock everyone's socks off.
Yeah. No, you're right. I think it was it Gordon Ramsay said a menu shouldn't be more than the front and back of a piece of paper? I don't know.
Absolutely. I'm sticking to the front.
Yeah, even better. I'll make
the back with beers in front.
Nice. So, farm to table growing up, I mean, looking at you, and folks, if you listen, I think there's a bunch of names that come across the show that people will ask me. Maybe I see in a grocery store, and they'll be like, "Oh, who was that? Richard Blaze? Who was he?" Or Betty Fraser, who was she? But when you say Erik Hopfinger, you're a pretty notable dude. The whole pirate chef moniker, I think, is stuck. I mean, you're just a big dude. And I gotta wonder, I would hope I know the answer to this based on growing up in a farm town myself. I imagine you weren't that picky of an eater. It being farm to table, you being a big dude, I'm pretty sure you ate everything in front of you.
Absolutely, nice. For sure.
Nice. Anything get left at the table when you were a kid? Like any absolute no's?
You know, for me, one of the things is eggplant. I'm not a huge eggplant guy. Never have been. I try it in every different form. I still, you know, I mean, give me an eggplant parm, I can throw it down. But you know, it's not my favorite thing.
Yeah, I mean, is it really eggplant at that point, or is it more olive oil, cheese, and marinara?
Yeah, exactly.
It has transcended its eggplantiness. No, I actually agree with that. My wife has tried to just, you know, well, I'm going to drizzle some planks of eggplant in olive oil. I know she's going to listen to this and kick my ass for it, but I don't really care at this point. Yeah, I'm just going to drizzle some in salt and pepper and put them on a grill. And, you know, they come off and they taste, you know what they feel like, actually? You know those stress balls? That's about it. I don't care how well you cook it. It's kind of like chewing a stress ball. So there you go. I'm with you on the eggplant thing. So negatives aside, though, I imagine growing up in such a rich culinary culture as you did, there's got to be some dishes that you think back to and just get that sweet pain of nostalgia in your chest. Can you tell me about one or two of those?
My grandfather's fried chicken, you know, is something that's near and dear. You know, my mom used to make it on my birthdays. You know, her flour mix, you know, shaking it up in a brown paper bag,
Hell yeah.
cast iron skillet,
Yep.
you know, stuff all proper with the awesome biscuits and gravy and mashed potatoes. Yeah. Oh man.
Absolutely. And again, it sounds like you were surrounded by just culinary life, but if you had to put your finger on the culinary inspiration for you growing up, who would it be?
Oh, it's my mom for sure.
It's Mom. Way to go, Mom.
Yeah, absolutely. And, you know, a few like, you know, Jacques Pepin and Jeremiah Towers, you know, I've got a few, you know, classic chefs that I've always looked at too, as well as Justin Wilson. That dude always cracked me up, man, watching him with his red suspenders and, you know, sipping on the sauce as he was cooking outdoors in his barbecue in Louisiana.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And okay, so when I get guests on the show who I can relate to, let's say chronologically, I can share a little bit that growing up, first of all, I was a weird kid. Second of all, I'm a grown-ass man with 3 kids, and I have a culinary talk show. So that probably still qualifies me as weird. But when I was growing up, I didn't watch cartoons. I didn't watch sports. I would get up on Saturday mornings, turn on public television, and watch great chefs of the Northeast, of the Southwest. Justin Wilson, Yan Can Cook, the Frugal Gourmet, Jeff Smith before he turned out to be a pedo. Like, that was my shit.
Yeah. If Yan can't cook, you can't
Oh,
cook.
my God. That guy's just...
One of my moments was meeting him and him eating my food, and he just looked at me and was like, the best thing here.
Oh, my God. Right. Are you serious?
Yeah.
Holy shit. Because I remember he was on your... That was actually the first time he was on Top Chef, I think.
Yeah, no, this was actually at a All-Star Chef event in Union Square in San Francisco.
Oh, he wasn't on your season? I know he's been on. Oh.
I don't think it was my season. Maybe it was after I was gone. I'm not sure.
Might have been. But in any case, how incredible was that to have this guy that you watched? I mean, just the fact that you name dropped Justin Wilson, I'm like, okay, this guy knows it. This guy gets it. This guy probably did similar shit. So seeing him eat your food, having him tell you that, like, life-altering moment, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely. I was floored. And he was the nicest guy ever. And he had a camera crew walking around following him as he did that. And he just stopped in his tracks after I was doing a spice rub, like a harissa rubbed rack of lamb with mint chimichurri.
Oh my God!
And a little bit of pomegranate molasses, and he just like stopped and was like, "Wow, that's good.
That's incredible. That is incredible. I mean, you gotta. Yeah, I would definitely tuck that away for a long time after that. Anybody else from that scene? Like, have you run into anybody that like you used to watch? Because part of what I tell people, when maybe I go out and I do live events and people will come up and ask me questions afterwards, they'll be like, so like, how is it talking to people? How is it, cooking with some of these people? I have to wonder, have you had any other experiences like that Martin Yan experience?
Yeah, absolutely. I've run into Tyler Florence a couple times in the Bay Area. I think he's an awesome dude, and he like saw me from Top Chef, and actually was one of the first people to eat at Wayfair Tavern and had his amazing fried chicken.
Nice.
There's a theme. I kind of like fried chicken. I'm gonna plug Richard Blaze. I went to Crack Shack in San Diego the other day. Nice. And that chicken was fucking phenomenal. So right on play.
Nice.
So met Tyler and we chopped it up for a minute, and he's super down to earth guy and very talented chef, and then also got to meet Guy from Triple D and
nice.
All that stuff. Really, really down to earth as well.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
And I had a sit down with Jacques Pepin. He did a dinner here in San Francisco about 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And got to meet and greet with him with Stag Dining Group, who does a bunch of like high-end things. He wrote the menu and they executed it. It was flawless.
Unbelievable.
And for something that's up there in age, his cooking is still super relevant and very progressive. The menu he came up with was amazing.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, how the old French dudes hang around and around. Paul Bocuse. I mean, he was around forever, and it was actually Bourdain's episode when he was over in Lyon, I think, and he was riding around hunting with Paul, and he was still cooking a little bit, and like they don't stop. But Pepin seems like he's a totally different animal.
Yeah, I mean, just meeting him, and like we sat down and chopped it up for a minute, and it was just he's such an amazing soul.
Yeah,
and I feel very fortunate to have met one of my culinary gods. So.
Sure. Oh man, I mean, no question, and that's you said too about Tyler, how he was down to earth. One of the joys of talking to folks in your shoes, across these 119 episodes has been like, there's a very, very small segment of you all who aren't incredibly humble, incredibly kind, and incredibly giving of your time. Like it's an absolute treasure, I think. And the more I do it, the more I get to talk about it, the more I'm like, listen, if you want to find some of the best people in the world, like, I get it. After shift's over, don't go talking to them. And during shift, don't look them in the eye. They might kill you. But with that said, like, these folks are some of the truest to form celebrities Absolutely. In my eyes that I could ever have the honor of knowing. So that's phenomenal, man.
I feel like we're very fortunate to get paid to do what we love to do because, I love cooking for people, and the simple fact that I get paid to do that for a living, that's amazing to me. Because, I like to meet people and make sure they're taken care of, and it's all about hospitality.
You bring up the common theme that I hear, like episode in, episode out. I just want to, provide that for somebody. I just want to do that. I made bread early. I swear to God, I almost texted you a picture of the loaf of bread because it came out like fucking spotless. And I'm like, oh my God, if I don't share this with somebody in the culinary realm, I'm going to blow up. And I took a chunk off it, just slapped a cold square of butter on it. My wife was putting our youngest clothes away, and I just snuck around the corner, and I like shoved it towards her, and she opened her mouth, and her eyes rolled back. And there's not a better feeling, and I'm sure that's exactly what you're talking about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man.
Sure.
Yeah, man. So all this culinary corroboration aside, getting back to your origin story. So you've got mom, you've got grandpa, you've got a clear fried chicken addiction, a clear aversion to eggplant, all these things combined. Just a great backdrop, though, for somebody who ends up doing what you do. But when was it that you had the lightning strike of, inspiration or decision or ambition that you said, fuck everything else, this is what I'm doing? When did that happen for you?
It was in high school. I was going to, I was going to high school and super bored and not very attentive. And, then I ended up going to vocational school and bounced around through a couple things and then went to Culinary. And that was it right there. As soon as I got into it, I really, truly fell in love with it right away. And then, started getting it. I picked up a job in the kitchen right after school and, was washing dishes and watching what was happening behind the line and became enamored and fell in love with it immediately.
That's incredible.
That was it.
That's incredible. And so you bring up two really important things. And, again, I pull the curtain back sometimes on my family life. Everyone who listens knows I got 3 kids, and our oldest is 12 now. And we're looking at transitioning him to the Votech track because he hangs out in the kitchen with us nonstop, and he's amazing. Like, honestly, if I were working on a line, I'd want him to the right of me. Like, there's no question, and he's 12. So we're looking to do that. So big shout-out to the Votech audience,
Absolutely.
The Votech option. I can imagine, here's Erik Hopfinger in high school and bored. You get that Votech option, and you get that glimmer of Culinary. What was that like? What was that inspiration like as soon as you came into contact with it?
Well, I actually found something I was interested in instead of hearing about a bunch of crap and trying to figure out mathematical things that I couldn't figure out. I could actually figure this out. I actually cared about it. I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. I'm super interested in this.
Yeah.
Everything else was not, there was no fire,
Yeah.
And to find that out at 17 years old that I actually, wanted to pursue that, and I feel like I'm super fortunate.
Absolutely. There's, I mean, honestly, I think more people than not that I talk to were heading down another track. I've heard everything from medical school to I don't know what else, but to get that at 17 is incredible. So I don't know. I might have to have my kid give you a call, and you can talk him through it, and we'll arrange a promotion schedule for your openings. But
for sure, there's never been any other thing that I've been interested in as far as a career. I tried a couple other things because I wanted to get out of the kitchen for a summer and did some landscaping, and that was a lot of hard work. I was like, well, I'm getting back in the kitchen.
Yeah.
I thought I was just going to be able to mow lawns. All of a sudden, I was replacing plant bulbs that are 350 pounds. I was like, this sucks. Hold on a second.
Yeah, wait a minute. Something doesn't feel right about this. I can work on prep, or I can be out sweating my balls off and breaking my back.
Yeah, New York summers,
Yeah.
Not an easy breezy situation.
No, not in the slightest. And the other thing that you brought up, and again, because you've had the good fortune of not only finding what you love, but then getting on this show and really being successful, not necessarily because of it, but a lot of people in culinary school now expect that, well, I'm going to be an executive chef right out of culinary school. That's not, I'm going to have a reality show. I'm going to have a cooking show, this, that, the other thing. Tell me your thoughts on, the appreciation of hard work to get there.
Well, I think that everyone needs to put their dues in, and I think, you should, you're serious about being a chef. It's until you call yourself a chef, you need to put your time in all the stations and, be around and do your due diligence.
Yeah.
And that takes about 6 years.
Yeah.
And then you become a sous chef.
Yeah.
Once you've mastered all the other stations, and then you've got to give at least 3 to 4 years at being a sous chef. And then, if your food's great and you can take it to the next level and you get menu placement with your specials and your ideas as a sous chef, then maybe you're ready.
Yeah.
We're in a different age, though. It's all about HR and other things. It's not just food. You've got to cultivate a huge a family environment, and that's a huge thing now. If you're not running a great environment in your place and keeping kitchen staff,
Yeah.
You know, that's you're putting a lot of time into training people, and if you're not cultivating a great environment, they're going to bail.
Yeah.
So to me, it's got to, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Gone are the Marco Pierre White days of, you know.
Absolutely.
If you're gonna cry, go do it in the walk-in. And his shit on Instagram, I'm not sure if you saw it, where he was disparaging female chefs and this, that. I'm like, dude, your time has passed. Go sip coffee somewhere in a dark room. I don't know.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I
mean, yeah.
I want as many women in the kitchen as I can. I think they have an amazing work ethic. They've got a great talent, eye for plating, and they're just overall amazing to have. So, you know, I'm all about it.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I had the honor of guest chefing an event with Grill Bitch from Anthony Bourdain's Kitchen Confidential, Beth Oretsky. I got to guest chef an event they did at Hudson Valley Brewing. And, I've come to know her. They've come to be good friends of ours through the show. And she asked me to drive the 3 hours over and prep the night before, cook that day. And, like, I've never seen such just a tigress, a lioness in motion and unflappable. I'm losing my mind. I'm like, fuck this. I'm in over my head. And she's not even batting an eye. I'm like, you are the absolute image of control. Do you realize that? It's incredible.
That's awesome.
Just incredible. So, cool. So, I mean, all this backstory then has brought you to where you are today, which is really an incredible place. And I came to sort of refresh my memory to your lore, to your legend, via your Facebook, your Instagram, which are both entertaining as shit, and I love them. And one of the things I've come to know, thanks to you, is this whole new field, no pun intended, of cannabis cuisine. So for those of you at home with red or right-leaning political judgments, now might be the time you want to leave the room because, like, I don't know, you're going to throw an aneurysm because you think pot is the devil's toolbox. None of us here do. None of my listeners do. I hope not. And if you do, stop listening now. Unsubscribe. Don't give a shit. With that said, I am intrigued as hell. When I started seeing you post your stuff about this, I haven't been glued or turned on to a culinary concept like this in years. In literal years. So for the listeners at home or in their car or in the plane who have not heard of this, and I guarantee you most haven't, because it feels like it's emerging. So would you share with us what it is, how new it is, and where it's going?
So, well, first thing is I actually stopped producing my medical marijuana cannabis olive oil just because of the legal ramifications in California when it went from medical to recreational.
Sure.
But what I was producing was some of the finest extra virgin olive oil that was infused with cannabis at 20 milligrams a tablespoon of THC with some CBD into it, and it was quite a fine product. But through the change of laws when it went from medical to recreational, that's when I had to stop producing the product.
Sure.
So, unfortunately, but it was a labor of love, truly. You know, it was one of my favorite things. It's you know, to me, the flower and the flavor of cannabis pairs so incredible with the fruit of olive, and the way I did it with the slow cold extract was just, you know, it was an amazing product. And it was a cold pressed olive oil, and it was like a finishing olive oil. You drizzle on make vinaigrette with it, or like drizzle it on a seared steak or some roasted chicken. And it was just it would pair really well with stuff. But once the new regulations kicked in, my olive oil was also too strong
I see.
And a lot of the applications that I was doing, we couldn't do anymore. Like I was doing demonstrations and showing people how to use the olive oil so they, could embrace it a little bit more. I was not allowed to do demos in stores anymore, and it was just, it changed drastically. So I'm all for the legalization, but, as a small businessman, it kind of crushed me a little bit.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So, there's that, but then there's this concept, Botanica. Where does that fit into the cannabis picture?
So Botanica is going to be a cannabis-driven event space in the Dogpatch district of San Francisco. We're also going to have art, culinary program. We're going to be doing amazing coffee, possibly some cannabis-infused coffees, all kinds of stuff across the board. It's going to be, it's an indoor-outdoor space. It's 10,000 square foot, 5,000 indoor, 5,000 outdoor.
Damn.
Half of the outdoor space is going to be some concrete stuff, and then we're going to have we're planting some living walls and broken out concrete with like grass and trees. It's going to be an amazing space to just grab some lunch and some Wi-Fi and do your thing, not being confined into a cubicle or anything like that. So yeah, we're very much looking forward to that taking place.
That sounds phenomenal. And do you have a potential open date for that, or is that still kind of in the works?
We're very much still in the works, probably about a year to date, because it's going to be a lot of hard work.
Sure. Oh, absolutely. Sure. Absolutely. I mean, but it sounds freaking amazing.
But we're gonna start out doing art gallery stuff and just kind of launch things, piece by piece, and just kind of let it happen organically.
Yeah. Oh my God. And I mean,
art gallery stuff might even happen this spring. So
that's awesome. So, and you said cannabis infused coffee. Now listen, I want you to understand something. Like, if you saw me in college and you saw my hair, you would understand. Like, I'm maybe a stone's throw away from Jim Brewer and Half Baked when I was in college. But the game has clearly changed, and I'm a little bit out of my element here. I'm okay to admit that. How does cannabis-infused coffee, A, work, and B, like, what's the end effect? I feel torn. I feel like that's bipolar in nature.
Clearly you've never had a
speedball. Mom, if you're listening, stop listening now.
See? I thought we turned all those people off a little while ago.
Yeah, well, truth be told, my mom doesn't listen to me anyway, so we're good.
So it's, the cannabis, they basically will roast the coffee beans, and then they toss it in cannabis oils after they're roasted, and then they just dry them and go through the regular process, and then you have THC added to the product. There's a couple of people that are doing it. One of them was the name is Somatic, and they're amazing. They're local San Francisco guys, and thumbs up to those guys. They're doing an incredible product. So.
Awesome. So, like, it's the best of both worlds then, as far as the effect.
Sure. Totally, and it's not it's a mellow dosage on the THC. Almost microdosing would have you, 5-10 milligrams. Usually, just kind of levels the playing field. It's nothing to get you, all weird or anything like that.
Right.
Just kind of takes the edge.
Yeah. I mean, again, not to date myself, but listen, the end game was to get weird. When I was.
Yeah, and we've all had those. I think we've all had those moments, where we've eaten, weird cookie bakes with nobody knowing how many milligrams or what. Oh yeah, I put an ounce into 12 cookies. What? 2 days later, still freaking out.
Yeah. Next thing you know, your pants are down. You're in the middle of traffic, and you're hoping for the best, really. At the end of it all, there's a story. I'll be vague here, but those of you listening who've been there will get it. We went for a walk after and we ended up finding a carpet tube, some rubber hosing, and 2-gallon milk jugs, and you can imagine what we made from that. So, and it worked amazingly well. So with that said, so Botanica sounds like it's going to be just an amazing space. Folks out in that San Fran area, be sure to check it out. Again, it's a year away, but it sounds like it's going to be amazing. Let's bring it even a little closer in then to the openings that you're working on now. We've got Mas Fuego and Buena Vida Cantina. Tell us a little bit about Mas Fuego. What's going on there?
So Mas Fuego is, they're both Mexican restaurants. Mas Fuego's out in Fremont, California, about 40 minutes from the city. Both spaces, I just got back from Mexico. I just had my 50th birthday. I was down in Valle de Guadalupe, which is a Mexican wine region.
Nice.
Great. If you have the wherewithal to get down there before there's Hilton and Hyatts are trying to get in there. It's a space. The food down there is fantastic. And the hospitality, it's just super genuine. People really care about what they're doing. It's amazing. So it's one of the best places my two legs has ever taken me. Nice. And I've been to a couple places. So
yeah. A couple. So tell me then a little bit about Buena Vida.
Mas Fuego is going to be about 200 seat space. We've got a private dining room, huge bar, cocktail program is put through by my good friend Reza Esmaili.
Nice.
He's a local mixologist. He's fantastic. He's with the USBG, and so we've got a fantastic cocktail program going together there to pair up with some amazing, Mexican dishes. It's a big 200 seats. We've got a patio on either side of the restaurant, and I'm looking forward to it cracking here soon. I think we're going to be looking at March 1st for our opening. So
March 1st opening on Mas Fuego. Nice. Real nice. All right.
And then Buena Vida right behind that, probably second or third week of March.
Okay.
That's in San Francisco on 5th Street at Folsom. It's a restaurant space that you'd be held by a restaurant called Ula.
Mm-hmm.
And for about 15, 20 years. So we're rolling one right out after the other here. I've been super busy.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, I think certainly, without a question from my end, from knowing what I know of you, I mean, they're clearly in good hands, and I think they're going to do amazing things. Let's talk a little bit about your inspiration then. I mean, clearly, you're at the helm, you're pushing these forward. Talk to me about where the inspiration for those comes from. I mean, maybe not just those two openings, but I mean, everything in general. Where does Erik Hopfinger reach to be inspired?
Just travel, I mean,
nice. I
travel a lot. You check out my IG or my Facebook, you'll see, I post and share a lot of my travels because, I feel like that expands my horizons, gives me, true inspiration into the culinary field and in enveloping myself in other people's culture and getting weird and eating weird shit that I don't know what I'm putting in my mouth.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome, dude. And I mean, that's just it. Going back to the Mexico thing, my wife and I, before we had kids, we bought a timeshare in Puerto Vallarta. And we finally got to take all three kids with us, and I'm fluent in Spanish, so you should see their eyes bug the fuck out of their heads when Dad starts speaking another language. They're like, "What? What is this about?"
Awesome! What? Whoa!
Yeah, exactly.
You don't speak too much Spanish in Pennsylvania, huh?
No, yeah, it's not really a common thread. They speak red hats, apparently. But with that said, you talked about their gratitude and their just sweet hospitality, and quite literally, all you have to do is speak a word or two, and they understand, oh, these aren't the assholes from across the quote-unquote wall. Like, give a little appreciation. If you're going to go somewhere, public service announcement, and listen, I got the pirate chef of San Francisco here to back me up, so if you got a problem, call him first. But if you're going to go to another country, man, pick up a little bit of the language, show a little appreciation, and it will go miles. I promise you that,
Yeah. At least please and thank you,
Exactly.
It's not that hard.
Oh, exactly. Like, you go into your local Chinese restaurant, you want to see people bug out, the people who you go in, and listen, it's always kind of the common perception. You go in, they're too busy, they don't say shit to you. Say shit when they hand you your change back, and watch, like, the needle scratch across the record and everybody look up at you.
Or ni hao when you walk in.
Exactly. Exactly. It blows their mind. So, I don't know. Listen, you got two smart guys here telling you, listeners, like, appreciate it a little bit. So, travel, I mean, for sure. Travel's just, an unbelievable conduit. And, you clearly seem like you've been quite, a couple places, maybe. A few. So let's talk about, because, you clearly have just turning the great 5-0. I turned 4-0. My wife is turning 4-0 this year. And I believe with that, you get, this new decade of knowledge. You, with your just clear footprint in the industry, have seen trends come, trends go. I wonder what your thoughts are on what's going to be the next big thing in food.
I read things on the internet. Like the other day, I was reading that like French fry platters are a new thing. I was like, really? Big platters of fried shit? That's gross.
Oh, God.
Like literally, it was like, oh yeah, like 6 different kind of. They want waffle fries. They want tater tots. They want Cajun fries. I was like, I want to throw this away. And
no shit.
Get out of my. So like to me, I really have no idea. I'm just trying to, to call what's happening in the future. Probably something that's definitely happened in the past, and it'll all circle around.
Yeah. Now that's a great point. That's a great point because, everything old is new again. You look at music, you look at food, everything is cyclic. But I have to believe, and this is not just kissing your ass. Cannabis and cuisine, if you watch things like Vice and stuff like that, it seems to be an emerging area, an emerging arena.
Without doubt. It definitely is. And, there's just, there's a certain legal line that it comes with as far as putting cannabis in somebody's food that is not okay in the state of California. So, like, you can give somebody a little bottle of olive. This is in a public, opened restaurant. If you're doing a private dining situation, it's a little bit different. But all those Bon Appetit episodes and stuff like that, those are all private.
Sure.
So they can be dosing people, and that's not like acid. That's what you call the dosage of milligrams. Just
see that?
Throwing that out.
We're all learning something here tonight, Erik. Thank you.
So the dosage, that is technically illegal in the state of California as far as open restaurants. So,
sure.
There's a place down in LA that's doing some cannabis infused stuff, but you have to buy it in one store, and then you bring it, and then they give you a meal, and you pour it on yourself. It's a whole to-do. It's not really what we saw when we were coming up with our ideas. But, California is rolling with the punches and changing their it's a spinning wheel, the cannabis legal system. So
Sure. But, I mean, I know Colorado was the front runner. California wasn't far behind, correct, in the recreational legalization?
We were close. So it was Colorado, then Oregon, and we were third. But we didn't adopt any of the policies that the other states did. We just kind of did our things on our own, winging it,
Yeah. Oh, yeah, totally. I like that. Colorado, Oregon, California. So it's kind of like you're playing Oregon Trail back in school, but it's just pot legalization. Boom, boom, boom. You're going across the country.
And Vegas and Nevada was actually legal before us, too.
Oh, shit. Yeah, I guess that's right. Yeah. Yeah, so I know. I think Pennsylvania's, I think we're close if we haven't.
Very close. Yeah.
I don't know. I honestly, I wish they just, I honestly mellow the fuck out about it and be like, look, there's bigger fish to fry in the game. Like,
absolutely.
What a small thing to get wrapped up about, but you know.
Yeah, let's focus on the fentanyl issues and kids shooting kids. And figure some shit out.
Yeah, I mean,
nobody goes on weed.
No, exactly.
What you do is you fill your pantry, fucking raiding fucking.
I was, all right, off the record, so Mom, if you're listening, like, scrub at least 3 minutes downstream a little bit. I was the worst muncher, like, afterwards. And it was always about an hour or two in, and it would just be some of the worst shit ever. I would just gorge on, and I'd wake up the next day and be like, well, I feel okay, but God, look at your gut, you mess. And none of the combinations ever made sense. To be perfectly honest, I was the worst when it came to that. It was like, yeah, the salsa and ravioli sounds really good together. Who does that? Who does it?
You're ahead of your time.
I guess so. It's fusion cuisine. It's like Trailer Park Boys. Ricky, no one eats 8 cans of ravioli. Oh, Jesus. Yeah, so Cannabis Cuisine. There you go. It's clearly, cannabis has come a long way since Shawn was in college. Put it that way. So, again, I think that would be a cool trend. I think that's a new flavor. I've actually had a couple infused.
CBD is definitely
yeah, and
CBD is definitely on the culinary twist too. There's all kinds of applications for it, and there's all kinds of. It's going to start flooding the market very soon.
Well, I knew we were on the map when the gas station a quarter mile down the street from us started carrying gummies and shit like that. I'm like, okay, I think we're getting close. We might not be there, but we're getting there.
You're getting there. Yeah, absolutely. For sure.
We're getting there. So cannabis, I mean, I'm excited to see what comes of it, but I imagine too, in your knowledgeable stable of knowledge, there's got to be some trends that have gone through you like nails on a chalkboard. Can you tell me one or two that you wish would have gone away sooner, or if they're still around, you wish they'd just go away?
That's a hard one. I mean, there's a few things that bug me, but I love the industry, and there's nothing really that like screams at me like nails on a chalkboard.
Right.
Yeah, no, I'm going to pass on that one.
Nice. See, Switzerland showed up. Nicely done. Well played. Well played. And I mean, career-wise, what's next for you? I think we kind of have a good idea. Like, Mas Fuego coming up March 1st, thereabouts, 200-seater. Buena Vida, second or third week in March. Botanica is about a year out. Anything else in the works that's going on?
Yeah. I have another project called Rise Rotisserie. That's going to be June, July opening. And they already have a current open location. It's a pizzeria called Rise in Burlingame, California, and they're opening a new Rise Rotisserie Pizzeria in San Mateo at the San Mateo train station. That's going to be about a 210-seater. It's going to be a big space, indoor, outdoor. So looking forward to that one. That's going to be a lot of fun, working with live wood fire rotisserie, live wood fire pizza ovens.
Damn.
So that one's going to be, I'm excited about that one.
there's no slowing down in your book. You don't stop, do you?
Only for my Crohn's. I'm I suffer from Crohn's disease, and that's the one thing that puts the brakes on me here and there. Unfortunately, there's not much I can do about controlling that.
Sure.
So,
yeah, man. I mean, hell, if you're doing all this with that, you're a force to be reckoned with, sir. I tip my hat in deference to you, man. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah, the Crohn's. I got diagnosed about 7 years ago, and it's been an ongoing kind of issue. I got to lost being able to eat rare meats and stuff like that,
Sure.
which is super important for a chef.
Yeah.
But my gut health and my overall health is super important to me. So yeah, it's but I feel like the more restaurants I open, the less stressful they get. And, it kind of just seems to get easier every time. Not to say that it's ever easy.
Sure.
There's always lots of the unknown that always happens. It's inevitable in every restaurant opening. But, you feel like you just get a little bit wiser every time you do it. And you get a little more insight. And, and it just, like I said, gets a little bit easier. But, the Crohn's is, I've kept it under wraps for the last, few years, changed medications and stuff like that. But, it's life-changing for sure, especially perhaps not being able to eat whatever you want to eat and stuff like that.
Yeah, and you said specifically rare meats are verboten?
Not, it's I mean, anything that your stomach has to work harder on, and the digestive process, as opposed to like meats that are braised and stuff like that, it's a little bit easier on your digestive tract. So
I gotcha. Wow.
Not to say, and I do it once in a while.
Right, but you're probably gonna feel the effects later if you do so.
Absolutely.
Gotcha.
I'm a fish and chicken guy.
Okay. Wow, man. See, and this is what I love about talking to like the professionals in this field, because you learn not only things about the industry. Obviously, you pick up something about the industry every episode, but like I've heard of, but I've never truly been kind of indoctrinated into, Crohn's, and thinking about that's got to be, difficult for, say, someone who wants rare, maybe on a menu that you're making, how do you balance the personal like sacrifice to your body versus providing what they want?
Well, I don't need to taste, and I can look at a steak and tell you if it's cooked, or touch it and tell you if it's cooked rare. And I keep it on my menus. It's not, it's not something that I won't do. It's just, I just don't do that because that's not, I don't eat that. But I still have, steaks on menus all the way across the board for sure. Gotcha. Wow, man, that's great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate that. So, hey, folks, listen, if you're out there and you got questions, this is a guy to talk to for sure, man. So rotisserie, Rise Rotisserie, Mas Fuego, Buena Vida, Botanica. Holy shit, are you a busy human being? Yeah, and I mean, obviously, if there's ever anything we here at the show can do to help you promote those, we're obviously on deck. You take the time for us, we take the time for you. That's what we do. But with that, before we let you go, let's hit the afters real quick. Again, a little bit more irreverent. Hopefully no one will get hurt this episode, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe this is the one that does it, 119. I'm standing in your kitchen. Now, you can pick whether it's professionally or at home. You pick. What music am I listening to? Oh, probably some cheesy hair metal.
Nice. Any Poison in... Listen to me, any Poison in particular. What an awful dad pun. Fuck me. Any particular band?
Definitely not Poison, but...
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. Probably maybe some Tesla or some Motley Crue.
Nice.
I'm not too happy with Motley Crue going back on the road again. I think they should have hung it up the last tour. So.
I was, as soon as you had said hair metal, I had just seen that very same thing, and like you're seeing the Guns N' Roses come back, and I'm like, Jesus, guys, let it go. Like, there's a time to walk away.
Guns didn't say make fun of everyone else and say they weren't going to do it anymore.
Yeah, and then Vince Neil goes out and does that. I'm sure you've seen the clip where, like, what the fuck was he even doing? Terrible.
Man over Christmas, and I lost my mind. It was the funniest thing I've seen in a long time.
Nice.
I'm not a skinny dude, but that dude's a little rock star and on stage, and he needs to handle his business. Exactly. He's might be time to hang up the mic, Vince. We're just saying, as friends, we're not judging, but we're judging. All right, fictional situation. Erik Hopfinger, you're going to a stranded, deserted island. All right, you can only bring 3 foods or food-type items with you. An inexhaustible supply, limitless, infinite, but only 3. What would they be and why? So, do I have to cook these items, or is it like limitless?
Limitless. Yep. Limitless. It can be a prepared, like thing. It can be prepared.
Oh, it's tacos and tequila. I don't even think I need the third.
I fucking love it. Tacos.
No. Maybe some Modelo. So tacos, tequila, and Modelo. I'm good.
Dude.
There you go.
I'm getting stranded with you. Fuck it. That's it. We're done. That's incredible because, like, literally, when we would go down to PV, like, the best thing isn't when you're at the resort where you bought the property. The best thing is taking the 20-minute cab ride down into Bucerias to Marketplace and getting the friggin' 50-cent street taco and eating your face off. Yeah. Like, that's the shit.
I just came back when I was driving up the border and I had a stomach ache from eating so much stuff.
Nice.
Like in line at the border, and we were there for like 2 hours. I was like, oh my God, I can't eat anymore.
See, you're lucky, man. You can just drive down there. We got to take I don't even know how many fucking hours it is. Because, like, we fly into Texas and then we, connect down there via Aeromexico. It's like 8 hours in the air, maybe? I don't know. Something like that. Tacos, tequila, Modelo. God damn it, you're my hero. That's you seriously might have just become a hero of mine for that answer. That's going on the Gold Star Wall of Fame. That's one of the best ever. Hands down. Have you heard of the book My Last Supper by Melanie Denea?
I think I've heard of it. I definitely have not read it.
So, it totally not a reader either. It's a coffee table book. Big-ass thing, right? And it's 50 world-famous chefs.
Yeah, I have it.
Okay, cool. And then she did the follow-up, the next course.
Now I know. Is that the one with Tony's bone covering his bone?
Yeah, Tony's bone covering the bone. That's the one. So, admittedly, and I've reached out, I've thanked her for the inspiration. That's where the kind of like formatted questioning comes from, was reading her book and going, wow, I think this could be a podcast 5+ years ago. And, the one thing that I always kind of tip my hat in Melanie's direction and ask is, Chef Erik, your last supper, what is it? Who's there? What are you drinking? What are you listening to?
Oh, man. Well, definitely Tony.
Yep.
Good for the nest, and what a terrible loss for the whole world.
Amen.
Not just the corner.
Amen.
Probably Bob Marley.
Nice.
Probably listening to Marley. Smoking with Bob Marley. A couple other Rastafarians. I'd like to have Jimmy Cliff at the table, too. I mean, Peter Tosh. Jimmy's still with us.
Yeah.
Sorry. Peter Tosh, for sure. And, I don't know. I think that's about it.
Nice. What are you eating?
What are we eating? Well, those guys are Rastafarians, so they're vegetarians. That should be a great conversation with Tony in itself.
You just sit back and watch.
Exactly. And I'm eating whatever's on the table and enjoying the company.
I love it, man. And that's about for what I know of you, Chef. That's as true to form an answer as I could imagine. Seriously. And finally, last question, the simplest question, but perhaps the most complex to some. What is food to you in one single word?
Life.
Love it. Love it. It's the first thing we seek, and it's the last thing we enjoy, right?
Absolutely. And I just wanted to give a big shout-out to my wife, Marina Kawagishi, because none of this would have been possible without her, man. She helped me through all kinds of stuff, and it's just true inspiration to me, and is a source of she's amazing, and I love her, and I'm very lucky.
I'm stepping back from the mic, man. I'm gonna let that go because that's a wise man. Future guests, if you're listening, make sure you get that plug in at some point. You need to. I've been married this year. Yeah, I was going to say, secondary to the plugs to the restaurant, let's talk about, no, man, that's such a great tip of the hat, because I think, man, I can speak from mine. We're married, how many years this year? Going to be 17 years this year married, 19 together.
Congratulations.
Thank you, man. And it's like, if you're not learning from each other, and you're not growing from each other, hang it up. Hang it up, and it's cool. Hang it up, and it's cool. But, like, if you have the opportunity to learn from each other and to grow from each other, please, for the love of God, do it and appreciate it like Chef Erik Hopfinger just did on here.
Shawn, thank you very much, man. It was a pleasure.
Just saying. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. Let's run down the plugs one more time. Make sure I got them all straightened out here. So we've got Mas Fuegos, Mexican restaurant in Fremont, 200-seater, opening March 1st. We've got Buena Vida Cantina. Again, it's going to be in San Francisco on Fremont, second or third week in March. We've got Botanica, the cannabis-centric event space, and that's going to be about a year out to date. And you've also got Rise Rotisserie in Burlingame, Cali, and that's right around the corner as well. Does that pretty much catch them all?
Opening San Mateo.
San Mateo.
Rotisserie.
San Mateo. My apologies. San Mateo for Rise Rotisserie. Everything else is, I think we caught it. I think we got it. So, damn, man. And look, if you're listening and you want to check out Chef Erik on the social sphere, Instagram, Facebook, he's all over the place. I believe you're Erik Hopfinger on Facebook. What's your screen grab on Insta?
It's Pirate Chef.
Pirate Chef, i.e. the San Francisco Pirate Chef.
Yeah, Pirate Chef SF, I think.
Love it, man. And so again, be sure to check everything he's doing out in San Francisco, because he's doing a shitload. Try to keep up. I'm sure I couldn't, but maybe some of you younger, nimbler folks could. So again, Erik, man, I can't appreciate it enough. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here with me this evening.
Thank you guys for listening, and thanks, Shawn. I appreciate it.
Yeah, buddy. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been episode number 119 of the Coarse Grind Podcast. With me this evening, the Pirate Chef of San Francisco, Chef Erik Hopfinger. Our producer this evening, as always, has been the lovely, voluptuous Johnny Leland Robinson, a.k.a. the Reverend Johnny Lamoria. Be sure to check out his Cinematic Pig's Feet podcast, featuring yours truly on an upcoming episode where we review the movie Aria. And next episode will be number 120. You won't want to miss it. Stay tuned. Are you passing through central Pennsylvania and looking for one of the best dining experiences and craft brew menus around? Look no further. Turkey Hill Brewing Company and 991 Central Road in Bloomsburg, PA, has everything you could ask for and then some. Service, food, beer together. Unbelievable. Be sure to check them out. Call them today for reservations. 570-387-8422. Call today.